Hey, what's up guys, Pattycakes here. So I've been feeling a little burnt out on Destiny lately, and after taking a break for a couple of weeks, I think I know why. As a longtime player of the Destiny franchise with many thousands of hours invested in both Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, I've been finding myself in a similar boat to many veteran players lately, where it feels like although there's technically a lot of things to do in the Destiny endgame, none of it really matters. And while seeing Bungie update the loot tables and refresh the tower vendors would be a nice change, I don't think it fully solves the problem. Recently, I've been spending some time with one of my other favorite games, The Elder Scrolls Online. If you haven't played it before, picture something like WoW or Destiny, but set in the Elder Scrolls universe. If you've ever played Skyrim or Morrowind or Oblivion, and you're interested in MMOs, you'd probably really enjoy it. Anyway, ESO is far from perfect, but it does have something that Destiny is really lacking, which is a sense of progression and accomplishment in the deep endgame. After spending some time with this game again, I have some ideas on how Destiny could make its endgame just a little bit more engaging. Just like in Destiny, in ESO, players level up while collecting loot that ranges from starter gear all the way up to fairly decent items, and eventually they find themselves in a spot where the game world has seemingly infinite things to do and systems to learn. As a player, once you've hit the max level, you have to basically decide where your time is best spent in the ESO universe. In the current state of Destiny, after you've conquered the newest raid and beaten the Flavor of the Month Horde mode, all you really have left to do is acquire a few pinnacle or ritual weapons for the season, an exotic quest or two, and then farm some materials to upgrade your gear until the time-gated to-do list is unlocked to grab that seasonal title. For most players who are fairly invested in Destiny, the challenge presented by a new season dies just about 24 hours after a new raid is launched, when they turn the contest modifier off, and the only difficult activity left is the 980 Nightfalls, which become easier and easier with each seasonal artifact power upgrade. In years past, we had the Crucible to challenge us by acquiring items such as the Redrix Claymore and Not Forgotten, but acquiring the Claymore was deemed too difficult for most players, and instead was nerfed into becoming a simple quest that didn't even require earning glory. And the glory system was neutered so hard recently that it's fairly easy to go from 0 to 5500 in a single day. On Shadowkeep launch, my group made it to 5500 in about 4 hours, and then we were effectively done with PvP for the rest of the season. There also hasn't really been any incentive to hit max glory rank in PvP anymore for most of my friends, since we all earned the Unbroken title quite a few seasons ago. So how do we go about fixing this system? I think the core missing component in Destiny right now is a true sense of challenge in the endgame. You see streamers like Glad and Chevy creating artificial challenge by doing low man raids and doing various solo activities, which I think is awesome, but we really shouldn't have to handicap ourselves just to find a challenging experience. In PvP, you can queue into competitive and have a player or two leave to force a 2v3 or a 1v3 situation, but the game highly discourages that by timing out the players who leave with a short ban. On the contrary, in ESO there's a solo activity called the Maelstrom Arena. It's 9 stages with a boss at the end of each stage and a final boss at the very end. On normal mode, it's not too hard for most players and just requires learning a few basic mechanics. However, on veteran mode, you start to see players really struggle. I've had so much fun recently watching friends take on this activity for the first time, and I do my best to try to coach them through it. The arena is brutal on veteran, and simple mistakes are punished hard with an instant death. Beating VMA for the first time requires a combination of leveling, acquiring true endgame gear setups, mastering your class abilities and mechanical play, and learning all of the enemy mechanics of the arena. Battling through your first clear is incredibly frustrating, and many give up along the way. But beating that final boss for the first time is a feeling that is just so elusive in gaming. A sense of true accomplishment and victory over yourself and the challenge at hand. When you do finally get that first clear, you're rewarded with a loot pool that has some of the absolute best weapons in the game. This then incentivizes you to start it all over again and do another run to get the exact weapon and trait that you're longing for. There's also no weekly loot lockout, so you can run it as many times as you want and still get the gear. ESO also has a scoring system that drives engagement at the highest levels of play, and I think something similar could work wonders for Destiny. Each week there's leaderboards for the highest placements in solo activities, 4-man group activity, and the weekly 12-man raid, which rotates through each of the different raids in ESO. People who rank in the top 100 by the end of the week earn a special package with a gold item, which tends to be quite valuable. And more importantly, you get a sense of purpose in playing to push for higher scores each week to beat your previous best score, and also to see how you compare against other endgame players. It's amazing watching some streamers tackle VMA with mechanical perfection. They know every single mob spawn and timing, showcasing incredible DPS and speedrunning tactics, and ultimately pushing the scores to the highest possible with the right gear and skill theory crafting. The same type of systems are at play for the 4-man group arenas and also the 12-man raids. Newer players are incentivized to get their first clears and start collecting the endgame loot, while more experienced players are working on clearing the raids with blistering speed and no death runs, all in pursuit of a higher score on that leaderboard. At the highest end, the raids also have special configurations where you can increase the challenge to the maximum by fighting multiple bosses simultaneously. Imagine fighting Crota, Oryx, and Riven all at the same time while managing each of their mechanics. It's something left for the very highest end of play, and it rewards those players with the highest possible leaderboard scores and special titles and cosmetics to showcase their accomplishments. Some of these extra boss configurations end up taking groups weeks and weeks to clear, and I think it would be a really fun thing to watch as streamers tackle these types of challenges. On top of all this, there are different titles you can earn, each linked to the difficulty of how hard it was to conquer. For example, in the Maelstrom Arena you have 3 titles alone. You earn the Maelstrom Arena Champion just for beating the activity on normal mode, Stormproof for clearing it on Veteran, and the Flawless Conqueror for beating Veteran mode with no deaths, which is quite an accomplishment for most players. PvP in ESO also has a very similar system that keeps players engaged. There's an open world PvP environment where 3 factions fight for map control throughout a month-long campaign to see which faction ends up on top. The single player with the most points contributed throughout the entire month's campaign earns the title of Emperor and can forever flex that title throughout the rest of the game's activities. Players who contributed to the campaign earn rewards aligned with their level of contribution. You can earn enough rewards to make it worthwhile just playing a night or two, or if you really get into it, you can be a top player for your faction and get some top tier rewards. I could see a really similar system working well in Destiny at a basic level with assets that are already in the game. Players would battle to earn the most points for their faction each month, going for either New Monarchy, Dead Orbit, or FWC, by playing PvP in both competitive and quick play modes. Eliminations and wins would both earn you points, but you would earn them at a faster rate in competitive and potentially trials when that comes around. Throughout the month you can see your individual contributions towards the overall campaign and also your placement on the leaderboard. And at the end of the month you could earn rewards tied to your level of contribution. The highest scoring player of the month would get to flex a special title that they have for life, which would also naturally become the rarest title in the entire game. Top players for each faction would also earn cosmetics and items to showcase their placement in the faction. ESO also takes this one step further, which would be really cool in Destiny, but maybe kind of a pipe dream for right now. They have an in-game trading system that allows you to take high-end items and materials that you earn from playing endgame activities and sell them to other players in the guild stores. It gives incentive for veteran players to keep grinding out activities even when they already have nearly perfect gear, so that way they can keep earning gold and use that to buy expensive cosmetic items and fancy gear with in-game currencies. I know a trading system like this would be a big stretch for Destiny right now, but hey, maybe it's something we can dream about. So I hope you found some of this game discussion interesting. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. How would you improve the Destiny endgame if you were in charge? Also, let me know in the comments, do you like this type of game theory discussion video? Or would you prefer if I stuck with more build and testing videos? That's all for now. Catch you guys next time.